What's going on, YouTube? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Welcome to Oh So Simplified, where I simplify life for you, because life should be simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. And this video starts with basically three kind of topics all merged into one. One is rolling with the punches. Two, serendipity is just a function of the openness of your mind. And three, the Chinese farmer story. So I actually shot this video before, but I think now I have a little bit more clarity to kind of give it in a better packaged way. So this video, starting up with the first topic, rolling with the punches, that life is going to be, chaotic by nature. We don't really know what's going to happen. I'm in New Jersey right now. It was 50 degrees during the day. Yesterday I woke up, there was snow on the ground. I don't know how the temperature changed that much, that fast, but things change, things happen. Nothing is, in a stagnant state. The only thing permanent is change. Things will change, things will happen to you. So for me, where this is coming from was that basically I was laid off, I guess, a month in the future. Like, I just know it's coming. I'm still somewhat working, kind of doing some transition things, but I know that at the end, all this is coming to an end. And it definitely, with what has happened with purchasing this house, between, putting everything together, which I'll make a video at some point on that, but putting everything together, some of the issues with the plumbing, spent a lot more money, a lot more time than I thought, and definitely wasn't anticipating this to happen basically right after I finished. But I'm not a person that thinks that you should kind of get too high or too low with information, and you shouldn't really judge the information until it happens, because you never know how it's going to play out, which leads to the second point. So you're kind of hearing where my situation is. In general, I'm just saying, things happen, you never really know, and to judge them as good or bad is not necessarily, to kind of use a paradoxical explanation, not necessarily a good or bad thing. It just is what it is. And it ain't what it ain't. I like that part to it too. But serendipity being more of a function of the openness of your mind. So where this comes from is that serendipity is just kind of like a fate-like happenstance, like something that's like destined to happen. And I know I probably have mentioned this in previous videos, because it's something that is kind of like a current thought, or like an ongoing thought, a recurrent thought in my mind, of like, when things happen, I kind of just immediately try to think of it as being, that's, I'm happy this happened. This is, thank God this happened. I don't really believe in God, but thank whatever this happened, the universe, the spirits. I'm just happy that this happened, because this is what needed to happen in this time. Whether or not there really is truth to that, I just feel like it's a more beneficial way of viewing it. And then it also opens yourself up to opportunities that you don't see, because when you are in kind of a reactive state, especially when you're kind of looking at things as being negative and things being against you, you start to view everything like that. So you're going to be more conservative, not more opportunistic, to capture the opportunities as they happen. And what I've noticed in my life is the times when the worst things happen to me, or the perceived worst things happen to me, always the best things kind of were on the other end. So like, even what got me into the career that I kind of been doing since 2016, 2017, I've been selling software, SaaS sales. I was a bartender. It was around the time when I first started this channel, if you want to go all the way back. I was a bar back. I was training to be a bartender, and I had started right under this girl who had just been trained to be the bartender, and basically we were like hooking up for a period of time. And then that went really bad in multitude of ways. I mean, it's a whole different conversation, but it's like, she kind of like ghosted me, but I work with her, so I see her 4 times a week. So it's just like, There was a couple of unanswered texts. I've never been like the thirsty kind of guy that's gonna like chase. But it was like, I texted you, and then you're gonna act like that didn't happen. And then she was kind of being real mean. But long story short, the crux of the story is, as a barback, you're kind of working not for the bartender, but like, I'm the cleanup guy. Like, I'm like a glorified like janitor, essentially. Like, I collect the glasses if she needs glasses, if a keg needs to be changed, and then also I was a server, so she's the one making my drinks. And it was just like kind of becoming toxic into a situation where I'm like, I guess you learn why you don't, crap where you sleep. And then I went on my degree navigator and was like, screw it, I got a degree. Why am I just bartending? Because my original plan was to bartend at night and make videos during the day, and then become, famous and successful at YouTube and make, millions of dollars. Didn't really play out that way, but so far. But basically, I went on Degree Navigator. I went on some interviews, ended up getting a sales job, and within 2 years, I had my first, 6-figure year. And now I've had multiple 6-figure years since then. Even with the pandemic, I went from, being at a 6-figure base plus commission, and I was on track to make some good commission. Basically, the world shuts down. A lot of the deals close. I get laid off. 2 months later, I'm at another job where I basically take like a 20% cut. Then 2 months into that job, which was going nowhere, I get the job that I'm currently at, which was a 20% raise from what I was making before the pandemic. So it was kind of a situation where, bad things happened and then a good thing came out of it. And that's the same mentality I'm having with this situation now, that, there very well may be opportunities on the back end. And you just need to kind of keep your mind open to be able to capture those opportunities as they come, and that you're ready to seize them, and whatever preparation you need to be, headspace, physically, skill-wise, but you're there to take them, and you're not looking at things with such like a negative viewpoint. Now, this all leads to the last story, which kind of encapsulates this whole thing, which is the Chinese farmer story. Which the Chinese farmer story is basically a story that takes place back in ancient China, where there's a Chinese farmer who has a very beautiful horse. And basically everybody, all the rich people in the village, all the village people have offered him all this money. He would be a super rich man if he just were to sell his horse. But he didn't want to sell his horse. One day he wakes up, the horse is missing. Everybody's like, you're such a fool. You're a poor old man. You can barely work. Now you don't even have a horse to help work or ride you into these different places. We all told you should have sold it. You're so stupid. This is such bad luck for you. His response is, maybe. Then, beyond that, a week later, everybody in the village sees the horses coming back. But not only is the horse coming back, 7 wild horses are following him. He takes all the horses back to the old man. Now the old man has 8 horses, and everybody in the village is like, oh, what great luck. You're so lucky. Your horse came back. So amazing. And he brought 7 more horses. You're going to be so rich. If you train all these horses and sell the horses, you'll be like racking in the dough. You'll be such a rich person. Such great luck. And he's like, maybe. And then a couple weeks later, as his son's working with one of the more aggressive horses, he's trying to tame the horses and train the horses. He has a very fatal accident, falls off. The horse falls on top of him, breaks both his legs, and now he's crippled. And this is ancient China, where having broken legs is pretty much a big deal. They're like, oh, what terrible luck. You have these horses, but now you're too old to train them. Your son has broken legs. You're in a bad spot. How are you going to work the farms? You have such terrible luck. And then he's like, maybe. A month later, the conscription army comes through the village and is knocking on all the doors, taking every able-bodied man between 18 and 35, taking them to a war, and this war is a losing effort. Everybody in the country knows they've been fighting this war for a long time, and it hasn't been going successful, so it's, an 80% death sentence for anybody going. Goes through all the houses, passes the old man's house, sees his son's crippled, said, we don't want him. Takes everybody else out, and all the villagers keep coming back to the old man and saying, you're so lucky, our son, your son's crippled, but at least you get to keep him. Our sons are going to this war and they're going to die. You have such great luck. And then it kind of ends with maybe. And the whole point of this story is that you never really know how things are going to play out in its totality. And to keep kind of an even keel and not get too high with the highs or too low with the lows, it's like, I think it was Aristotle that says, don't believe too much in people's praise, or don't believe too much in people's criticism. It's the middle ground. I would say to keep that, and also keep the bent that your opportunities are around the corner. Be open to the serendipity of the moment and things that can happen, but also as things happen, don't be so quick to judge them, because you don't know how they're going to play out. And you know, maybe it can play out in a very positive way for you if you were to just have kind of a less judgmental, or less picking sides type of attitude. I can't think of the correct word right now, but I'm looking at my camera too, and it's blinking, it's about to end, and I like the way this video went, so I'm gonna end it right here. I'm gonna have some more up, definitely gonna have some time on me, because really during this transition I'm not doing too much work, so I'm gonna try to step up the quality. But if you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like it, leave some negative comments, and you guys know what it is. And until next time, peace.